Hey everybody, it is Colin Nitro from Nitromaniac TV's a wrestling channel, and over the weekend we got a chance to witness the rebirth of a legendary wrestling event. I know WWE had brought back Starrcade last year or the year before as a house show, and pretty much just as a network special, kind of didn't make a huge splash on anything. This, on the other hand, though, I felt made a little bit more of a larger splash. It was the return of the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament, commonly known as the Crockett Cup, and the event was held on April 27th, 2019 from the Cabarrus Arena in Concord, North Carolina, ironically over NHRA weekend as well. So if you were one of the lucky few that checked out the Ring of Honor NWA show on Saturday and then headed out to ZMAX Dragway on Sunday, congratulations, you're living that Nitro life. And I envy you quite a lot because I was just staring at snow all weekend. Literally. Like it snowed here. So just a quick rundown on the card here and just my opinions on everything that happened. I watched the event through Honor Club, so it was really awesome that Ring of Honor had partnered with the NWA to bring it in. It was really awesome to hear Jim Cornette on the commentary call throughout the entire event. And I thought that the announce team was really, really good with the addition of Cornette throughout the entire card. So opening contest was the Wild Card Battle Royal, and a team that was formed earlier in the day of Royce Isaacs and Thomas Latimer defeated everyone else in the ring. I think it was about it was a 10 or 15 man battle royal to open things up, and it was a team battle royal. So if one member of the team got eliminated, I think the other member of the team could stay in and try to fight, but of course they'd be at a disadvantage and then they get tossed. So a little bit of a refresher on those rules. The boys and Latimer and Isaacs were the last two teams in the ring. Latimer and Isaacs kind of powdered out to the ring side area and that stuff and waited for the boys to eliminate the rest of the teams involved. And when we fought that, Dalton Castle's former henchman / confidant / running mates had won a spot into the Crockett Cup. In comes Latimer and Isaacs and dumps them over the top. Of course, Thomas Latimer, formerly known as Bram in TNA and Impact Wrestling circles. And this was my first time actually seeing Royce Isaacs, unless he's performed under a different name or a different gimmick elsewhere. I thought that for a team that, they gelled quite quickly during this tournament, and for a team being thrown together, I don't want to say last minute, but it seemed like it was kind of like an afterthought. They did a really good job throughout the entire tournament, and we saw a lot of them this tournament, believe me. Opening contest in the first round, we saw Bandito and Flip Gordon defeat Stutka Jr. and Guerrero Maya Jr. So a Ring of Honor versus CMLL matchup. Lots of flipping, lots of flying around the ring, great junior heavyweight lucha styles happening, good lucha things. 12 minutes and 30 seconds, great opener. The wildcard team, again, of Latimer and Isaacs, ironically only get about 15 or 20 minutes to rest before they get thrown into a match with a team that I think a lot of the NWA fans thought were a favorite going into this one, the War Kings of Crimson and Jax Dane. Of course, Crimson, another former TNA Impact Wrestling star from earlier on in the decade, as well being utilized here. But they were one of the first teams to qualify in this tournament. Looking at my notes here and that stuff back in January, man, what a big upset for that team to get upended in the first round like they did. Isaacs and Latimer, of course, using a classic heel tactic with the feet on the ropes for the win on the pin. And that's the thing, is just this team here of Isaacs and Latimer, they kind of built them up to be almost nothing to a wild card threat to a potential not only NWA but Ring of Honor tag team championship threat throughout the entire tournament. So they went from nothing to something throughout the entire time. So like from the first round on. So kudos to them again for putting the work in and getting it done. And this might be the relaunch that Bram needs in his career, because if you remember how his TNA / Impact Wrestling run ended, running around under a hood, being one of James Storm's henchmen in a anonymous hacker rip-off faction. Not necessarily the best impression to leave on fans. Probably one of the highlights of the first round was a matchup between Ring of Honor legends, the Briscoe brothers, and general NWA / Carolina / Crockett Cup legends, the Rock and Roll Express of Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. I wasn't really expecting much out of this match, but then you watch it and you see Ricky Morton at age 60, 61, 62, snapping off Hurricane Radas and high spots and getting color, and he's performing as good, if not better, than most of the people today on bigger rosters and bigger shows. And dude just still has a passion for the business, and you know what, kudos to him. It's a very entertaining almost 7-minute affair. It's at 6:55 on my notes here for match time. Briscoe's got the win in that contest, so they moved on. But it was great to see the Rock and Roll Express do their thing. They can still do the double drop kick. They still do the whole thing where Ricky gets the heat in the match and gets beat down, and Robert comes in and just is the hot tag, and they're masters of the hot tag still to this day. So then we had a really fun, interesting first round contest between Villain Enterprises, which was Brody King and PCO, versus Satoshi Kojima and Yuji Nagata. That's right, New Japan Pro Wrestling sending a team over for the Crockett Cup, taking on Villain Enterprises team of King and PCO. And this was really fun because it was, again, a mix between North American sports entertainment style versus Japanese strong style, and the four of them actually meshed really, really well. I almost wonder if we're going to see a rematch of this on like a New Japan card later this year or early on next year, because in front of a bigger crowd at like I don't want to say Dominion, but maybe like a Wrestling Dontaku or something like that, one of the smaller monthly events that New Japan does. Those four in the ring, really entertaining match, and potential's there for a rematch down the road for sure. Villain Enterprises getting the win in that one. Jazz was the NWA Women's Champion coming into this event, but had to forfeit the belt due to an injury, so the belt was vacant. Allison Kay, who was supposed to be Jazz's challenger for the belt, needed an opponent. In walks Santana Garrett. So we had a matchup between two Shimmer alumni, the AK-47 Allison Kay taking on the Power to Headband herself, Santana Garrett, and Medusa actually in the building to present the title to the winner, or so we thought. It's what she did in this match, but she would be involved in the card a little bit later on. This contest, a very solid wrestling match, something you definitely would see on a Shimmer card or anywhere for sure. And Allison Kay walking out the new NWA Women's Champion. No doubt that once Jazz is healed up, that match will happen probably at one of the larger NWA events going forward. Something that they would have on like an iPay-per-view or in conjunction with a larger event somewhere, maybe at a convention or something. But this was, I think, potentially maybe it's one of those things where the replacements might be even a little better than what they had initially booked. But it accomplished what it needed to accomplish, and Allison walks out with the championship anyway. I kind of feel that was the route they were going with that belt going into it. Semi-final action of the Crockett Cup had Isaacs and Latimer defeat Bandito and Flip Gordon, again using heel tactics throughout this one. And then Villain Enterprises, Brody King and PCO defeating the Briscoe brothers by disqualification after the Briscoes brought chairs into the ring and started attacking Villain Enterprises. Again, throwing more gasoline and other contaminants onto the fire between them and Villain Enterprises. So that one there will probably kind of launch the feud a little bit more in Ring of Honor and that stuff. Maybe we'll see some sort of hardcore thing at Best in the World or something like that coming going a little forward, like I don't know, maybe a ladder war or something. It seems like that's going to be the only way to end it between these four individuals and these two teams. But hey, the build is there. The build is happening for something big on that side. NWA National Championship was up next, where Willie Mack took on Colt Cabana for the National Championship. And Colt Cabana, in kind of a mild upset, stunning the crowd in Concord, defeating Willie Mack for the National Championship, which was kind of a shocker. It seems like in recent weeks on Ring of Honor television, Colt Cabana has adopted, well, since the Supercard, kind of a more serious side to his wrestling, kind of drifting back to maybe turning the page back to 03, 04, 05. Colt Cabana, the guy who would joke around outside the ring, but inside the ring was his best, or was as good, or maybe the best wrestler that Ring of Honor had, whose initials weren't CMP at that point. But, or Samoa Joe. Man, they had a lot of good guys back then. This match, an awesome surprise. Did not expect Cabana to walk out with the national championship. Not sure what to make of the national championship belt. It's kind of an old school thing that looks like was made in the custom tab of one of the WWE 2K games without a lot of forethought or anything. But as championship belts go, it might be, just my opinion, one of the ugliest championship belts in North America right now. But it's a highly sought after championship belt, and for this NWA brand, it's a solid mid-card title, and Willie Mack did a great job of defending it. It remains to be seen how long Colt will hold on to the national championship, but he is your new NWA national champion. He's already got a challenger, though, as Cowboy James Storm walked out right after, and pretty much laid down the challenge and said, listen, Colt, I'm next in line. So somewhere down the line, we're going to get James Storm versus Colt Cabana. Sign me up for that one. I want to check that one out. The finals for the Crockett Cup, and to crown brand new NWA World Tag Team Champions as well. The NWA was using this as an opportunity to crown brand new World Tag Champs as well off of this. Brody King and PCO defeating Isaacs and Latimer. Like I said, with the showing that Latimer and Isaacs had, you would think that somewhere down the line they are due for a rematch of either the NWA straps, or maybe even give them a crack at perhaps even the Guerrillas of Destiny later on down the line for the Ring of Honor tag titles, or whoever would have them if Brody King and PCO get it back, whatever. But Brody King and PCO, Villain Enterprises, getting some gold, getting the Crockett Cup, so you're going to see that in upcoming weeks on Ring of Honor TV, and see what sort of after effect it will have, driving with the results of the main event, which is what we're going to talk about right now. Nick Aldis, the national treasure, the current reigning and defending NWA World Heavyweight Champion, defeating the Villain Marty Scurll in 23:45 for the NWA Championship. And this was match of the night for sure. Both guys laid it out there. It was a very Ring of Honor style match, and between the two of them, they worked a really, really incredible match. One of the better ones I've seen this year. It was a match that was very up-tempo, I thought. It had a lot of throwbacks, of course, to the British world of sports style, mixed in with some North American sports entertainment. Just a great story, great conclusion to the arc, or is it even, off of this? But an awesome matchup, a great card. Concludes with the national treasure Nick Aldis walking out once again with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So from front to back, I will give this card a solid 8 out of 10, and my recommendation to go check it out on the Honor Club service, which I watched it on SF. I think it was available through Fight TV as well on the pay-per-views and wherever else you might be watching NWA stuff. It was really my first exposure to the NWA, having missed the 70th anniversary show last year and that stuff, and not really seeing much of it since All In. But, Corgan and Lagana are really on to something with trying to reestablish this brand a little bit. They already got people talking, trust me. I know different podcasters and podcasts that are already devoted to covering the NWA so far, and a lot of them you can look over on the side and you can link over to their amazing content as well, and a few of them support this channel. What's up, everybody? But it's one of those things that you desperately need when you are growing your brand, for sure. It's just to get people talking. And this is the type of event that will get people talking. It's a very successful card. You know, in the long run, what does it do? It might be just a little blip on the radar for a lot of things, a lot of storylines. But we do, you know, see the emerging storyline of Villain Enterprises versus the Briscoes coming out of this. We see a new tag team in Isaacs and Latimer that could be a contender for the NWA titles later on down the line as well, once Corgan gets his brand a little bit more established and that stuff, which is a desperate reboot for one person, and Royce Isaacs is a great introduction into the mainstream for another. You know, we see Allison Kay as the new NWA Women's Champion, can tour around a little bit and put that belt on the line, build that brand up a lot. And like I said earlier, Medusa as well, getting involved in the main event, walking out with Isaacs and Latimer as well as kind of a heel manager almost, or a heel consultant, and she was in that role quite a bit during that match. It was fairly interesting. It was a lot of fun as well. And with Nick Aldis as the NWA's figurehead, I think the future is high with this NWA Ring of Honor partnership. It's something they desperately need, both sides, coming out of last year. Anyways, that's just my take on the 2019 Crockett Cup. I hope there is a 2020 Crockett Cup, because I'd love to see this again. I'm Kellen Nitro. Later days, happy wrestling watching, and we'll catch you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel. Like, subscribe, and comment below, and happy wrestling watching, everybody.